Did you know that the pet care industry is a billion-dollar industry and it is continuously growing? But are the people who care for your pets growing as well? I'm Dara Forleo, and on the Business of Pet Care, we are going to talk about what really goes on behind the scenes of those grooming tables, those daycare walls, and those social media filters. Pet end-of-life care is one of the most emotional services in the pet industry. But behind that compassion, there has to be structure, training, some transparency, and a lot of trust. Today, we are talking about and talking with the leadership team behind Pet Passage. They are a national franchise built around a dignified pet funeral and cremation care system. They are understanding this process before they even need this kind of care for you guys out there listening. Welcome to the Business of Pet Care. My name is Dara Forleo. I am your host, and today I am excited to be joined by Mike Harris, founder and president and CEO of Pet Passage, and Andrea, Dunadee-Harris. She is vice president. And together we are going to be talking about how they have developed this business through this such a sensitive service and this category that is really unheard of in our industry. Welcome to the show. Thank you guys so much for joining me. I would love to know, how did you get into this?
Hey, Dara, it's a pleasure to meet you. Thank you for having us on. Well, how did we get started? Well, that's a good question. So my background is I'm a third generation licensed funeral director. My family's been in human funeral service for the last 80 years. So I practically grew up in a funeral home. It's what I'm licensed, trained for, educated for. And I'm also what I consider an over-the-top pet parent. So, you know, when I bring a pet into the home, they become part of the family, and they're treated as equally as our children. So, you know, as a young man, when I had my first two dogs, living on my own outside my parents' house, you know, I had these two Rottweilers. They were my best friends. And unfortunately, that time came where I had to say goodbye. And well, I could just tell you that there was nothing out there that met my needs as a pet parent or a licensed funeral director. And therefore, the inspiration was provided to me by Hannah and Luke, my Rottweilers, and, you know, never expected to be where we are today, but nonetheless, here we are.
That is amazing. It is really what they do to us. I think I say this every time on the show. What they do to us, how much they hit us. And, you know, even though we see that aging process, it just doesn't come easy. It never gets easier, no matter how many animals we have. And when you looked at so you started out as a director in a few, and then made the transition to this?
Yes. Yeah. So, I mean, that, you know, that full transition didn't happen right away. You know, when I lost my two dogs and the service options that were available were, you know, pretty dismal, you know, at best, I felt in my heart that I could do better. You know, it was almost, you know, a calling, if you will. Really, it was the dogs pointing me in this direction, if you could believe that or not. But, you know, I traveled around the country a little bit because I wanted to learn a little bit more about afterlife care for pets in the country. And, you know, what I learned was dismal all the way around. And I knew I had to do something different. So I actually created a very unique business plan, something unlike what was out there at the time. And that really is a true pet funeral home with on-site cremation. So this pet funeral home was, you know, really one of the first of its kind. It's a place where people could go and grieve their pets, bring kids in, bring their other pet family members in, and, you know, have that time to say goodbye before cremation services or what have you. And I launched my very first Pet Funeral Home and Crematory, September 1st of 2009.
Okay. Wow, that's I get choked up thinking about it. I'm not gonna lie. I'm sitting here going, this is so sad. But it's so important to know that we have options. This is a huge option. I know what it's like going to the vet clinic and having that experience, and maybe even having to go to the emergency clinic and not having the appropriate time there. And actually, I'm going to ask Andrea, from the customer and the family experience side, what do grieving pet owners need most from a provider in this moment? What do you think is making it so special, what you're providing?
So what I can tell you is that's how I met my husband. He took care of my dog when I found myself in the vet office, the emergency vet, and faced with that horrible decision to euthanize. And, I had met Mike just through some mutual friends, very briefly about 3 months prior. And so when I found myself in that position, I was devastated. And, as I'm holding my dog crying, I'm trying to read this paperwork. And so I called the number, and it turned out it was Mike that answered the phone and walked me through that. So the answer to that question is very easy. It's guidance. When you find yourself in that situation, especially for the first time, you just don't know what to do. It's so not natural. So the guidance meant everything. And on top of that, it was guidance with compassion. So I never thought I would end up where I am today, married to him and having this business. But that was my very first experience. And that seems to be the case with a lot of people that we deal with.
Oh my goodness. That I would have never guessed. We were going in that direction with that question. that was not on my scope. The answer.
We're full of surprises.
Not how you got to that. That is absolutely in this. I'm going to say it's such a beautiful thing. Like, it is truly special to say that. Yeah, you have experienced it. You understand it. We all understand it as animal lovers, as our pets are sitting here and looking at me going, it's time to eat. How do you define that? Well, I know the answer to this, but I'm going to ask you that dignified care in a way that it actually is being trained, it's measured, it's delivered consistency across all of your locations. Because how many did I see? Quite a few locations.
There's a few. I believe we have right now 19 open locations, and then there are 3 others that are scheduled to open by the end of summer of 2026.
Goodness. And you're across the United States.
Yes.
And
14 states right now.
That's truly much needed. I wish, is there one in Massachusetts? I need one in Massachusetts.
No, not yet. Do you want to bring one to Massachusetts?
We can make that happen.
I don't know if I would be able to, because I'm not sure that I would be able to not be emotional. With the family.
And you should be emotional.
So it kind of goes with that question. How is that? How does that work?
Yeah, I think we have to, in my opinion, we have to start with the care of the pets. These are people's family members, and I come from the human side. And, on the human side, it's nothing but reverence and respect and dignity and, treating the body, with the utmost care and respect, but also on the professional side of guiding, people through that loss and helping them to make informed decisions on, the services that they want for their loved one. And, I take that human aspect of funeral directing. Really, everything we do within Pet Passages starts from the human funeral profession, and I've brought that right on over to the pet side. And it really starts with the care of the pets, and they should be treated with the utmost respect and dignity at all times. These are people's family members that they cared for 10, 12, however many years. They had that special bond. They love that pet, and we believe it's our responsibility to carry forward that level of respect for afterlife services.
And you do more, we got a couple minutes here, but you do more than just traditional cremation. And you mentioned something I wrote down while you were talking, bringing it the funeral directing from the human side to the pet side and the licensure that goes with that. Is there anything like that in the pet side?
Unfortunately, there is absolutely zero regulation on the pet side of things, which I believe is, detrimental, to be honest with you. And that's one of the things that, that we bring with our brand. It is, it's a level of service that has the mindset and the professionalism and the training from the human licensure side. Yeah. And that's what we instill in all of our franchise owners.
Yeah, everything we do at Pet Passages mirrors the human side of aftercare.
That's fantastic. I love ending on that note because we're going to take a short break. Up next, they have been building this trust and now into the growth and how this company has expanded from a local service into a national franchise model without losing sight of the families it serves and supports. We will be right back. Welcome back to the Business of Pet Care. Want more of what you are watching? You can stay connected to the Business of Pet Care and every Now Media TV favorite live or on demand. Download the free Now Media TV app on Roku or ISO for bilingual programming in English and in Spanish. You can also catch the podcast at nowmedia.tv. Now Media TV is streaming around the clock, ready whenever you are. And we are back. And I am excited to introduce to you Pet Passage, the pet aftercare business model. What we talked a little bit in the last one. How did you decide that franchising was the right way to expand this company?
Well, honestly, we started out with a license model. And that's because I had my dad and my brother as a partner back in 2011 when I brought Pet Passages to the forefront of services. And, they didn't really want to invest on the franchise side. So we settled on a license model, did not want to do that. At the end of the day, hindsight is 2020, but the franchise model allows us as a brand to really have processes and procedures in place that can be monitored, measured, and enforced to keep brand standards. But it's also important for our brand that ownership is on site. When you have an owner involved in their business, especially a business that is so intimate as this, there's no one better than, an owner to be on site working with their team, because the owners are so vested in their business. A corporate structure or a private equity structure, in my opinion, is just not appropriate for this business. So, a franchise allows us all of the above to have those processes and procedure, but yet have that individual ownership on site.
I was just going to ask about that. So it gives the flexibility of being able to have that emotional and empathetic compassion come out, where you said you can't really get that in a corporate. Have you found that as people have started coming in, what kind of person, what's like your key persona? What does it take to become this? How do people get into this?
Well, that's a good question. I will tell you that there is a commonality amongst our franchisees right now. And it's very simple. They lost a pet and had a bad experience. Like us, we wanted to make that better. Mike wanted to make that better. That's why he created the company in the first place. So I will tell you that for us, we go through a very strict vetting process. Granting a franchise is very easy, especially in the pet space, because the pet industry, is the second fastest growing segment of our economy. So anybody who has money and wants to invest it, it's the best place to go. However, for what we do, it's not about the money. It's about providing a very much needed service. So we look for people that are compassionate. We look for people that understand the bond between a pet and a pet parent. Somebody who is willing to roll up their sleeves and get right into it, because it's not an easy business, especially when you're dealing with people's emotions. So mostly somebody that's compassionate and has that desire to serve. I mean, we find that it really takes a servant's heart to do this job and to do it well.
It is so true. Everything you said is so true about the industry, about people coming in. What were some of the early decisions that really helped you grow without compromising these standards that you are setting in place?
So I think we very, very are specific about our core values, and we have to stick to those. At the end of the day, we treat everybody the same, and everybody needs that guidance, that reassurance, that compassion, that transparency, and most of all, the dignity, that we show our pets. They are our family members. The loss is real. So we really have to adhere to those core values.
I love the word dignity. I love that use in this, because you don't hear that term used like this. And what made you decide to choose and go with that word?
Well, I think dignity or dignified really sums it up all the way around. Everything we do is in a dignified manner to treat that pet with the utmost respect and care, but treat every pet parent with that same level of professionalism and care and respect. We don't judge a book by its cover. We treat everybody the same. We provide options to people. We inform them on their options and allow them the freedom to choose what's appropriate. So, dignified was really, really the best word that just, brings that all together.
Yeah, how have people found you?
So from a franchisee side of things, or from a pet parent side of things, if you will?
I would say both sides, but from that franchisee side, where I'm guessing that maybe somebody would have come to you and been like, "This is a great idea. How do I get involved?" Like, it seems like
Our growth
you got into it that way.
Yeah, it's been all organic,
It's
really.
it's been all organic to date. Andrea alluded it earlier that all of our franchisees have a common thread, and that common thread is that they lost a pet, and had a very poor end of life experience, and they wanted to do better. So they did their due diligence. They jumped on the trusty old internet and started Googling, and they found Pet Passages, and they met us and just kind of really fell for what we do, believed in what we do, and just wanted to open in a business and serve in their community. It's really been organic growth, and we're very particular in who we offer a franchise license to. We've turned down many people. We're very strict in our vetting, and it's all about building a solid brand that is going to be there ultimately for pet parents in their time of need. And we just need the right people to do that.
How many people does it take to run one of the facilities?
Well, to start with, it can be owner operated. This is not like a McDonald's franchise where you open the doors and you have instant business all day long. This is a business that needs tending to, it needs massaging, it takes time to grow. We do service vet offices, but those relationships take time to create. They, just like any other relationship, it takes time to develop. So usually when our franchisees open their doors, they're working by themselves for a couple of months. However, each one that we open seems to get busier quicker. So I would say it's a few months that somebody can run it on their own, but not much longer than that. Then they have to start looking for some help.
Yeah, I think one.
Go ahead.
Oh, I was just gonna add to that as the business matures, you will need to add staff, and you're gonna have to have a combination of full-time and part-time, and usually 4 to 6 people really can operate a truly busy pet funeral home and crematory.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Okay. And so I just want to go back real quick to the services that you are providing. Is you're doing funeral services. They can come in. The facilities are being open up to this. And did I read right that you partner with crematories that are doing that and then bringing it back to the store, or do you do that in-house?
No, we do the cremations in-house. We are a pet funeral home with on-site cremation. That's really the definition. So we do make relationships with vet offices so, that we can care for the deceased pets that they have in their offices. So we do our vet runs every day, but then we also service the public. So we have what we call rainbow bridge rooms or comfort rooms. We partner with local traveling vets to provide a place for euthanasia. Some people don't want to do that in their home, and they certainly don't want to take their pets to the vet because it's usually a traumatic experience. So we have these rooms in our funeral home where, pets are very much at ease. They're very calming. They're beautiful. They're warm. We have water features. It's a really nice alternative to go into the vet office. And they don't always want to do it at home. So it works out really well for everybody. And then we do all the cremation right on site.
That makes so much more sense. That is the way that you set that up. So a vet can come and do that there. And the people, so the vet is not necessarily, but they're getting, I don't want to say, I feel like I'm kind of pushing that, but they're getting paid by the service they're performing, and then the service happens right there for you. So it's like so much easier than everyone else. This is so fascinating. This is really fascinating. I would have not expected to have this. Thank you guys. Because it really takes a different person. For anyone who is watching, really quick, please tell everyone where they can find you, how they can find you, and let's tell them where they can find you, because they need to find you.
Yeah, of course. So
Very simple.
Very simple, very easy. Petpassages.com. On there, there is a map where you could find all of our franchise locations. Hopefully we have one in your area should you need us. If you are interested in a franchise, you'll find a lot of information there as well. So petpassages.com.
Beautiful. Thank you. Coming up, we are going to go behind the scenes a little bit more, from identification and chain of custody to training, technology, communication, you name it, we got it. We will be right back. Welcome back to the Business of Pet Care. Don't miss a second of this show or any of your Now Media TV favorites, streaming live and on demand anytime. Grab the free Now Media TV app and on Roku or ISO and listen to the podcast at nowmedia.tv. We are streaming, available to you 24/7. So the stories that you care about are always within reach. And welcome back to the show. This is the Business of Pet Care. I am Dara Forleo, and I am joined by Mike and Andrea. I'm just going to say Harris. I'm sorry, the founders of. This is such an emotional topic, and I'm finding myself even thinking about it as we're sitting here talking. But with every business, there are operations, there are all kinds of things that are going on. The training process for someone who is coming into this industry, how long does that take for you to go through with a new franchise owner and teach them the ropes?
So they have to spend time here at our corporate headquarters for full immersion training at our Andrea and I's pet funeral home and crematory. It's not only classroom training, but it's actual hands-on, where we teach them how to care for a pet, how to transport a pet, how to pick up a pet, how to paw print a pet, how to run their cremation equipment. We immerse them into working with pet parents, taking phone calls, doing paperwork. It's full immersion here. That is one full week. And then Andrea and I are on site when they open their doors. We're there for the first week just to be there to hold their hand and guide them. They're kind of running the show, but we're there for support. And then beyond that, we're available to them 24/7. Myself, particularly, they have my personal cell phone, so if they need to call, I'm there. But we have ongoing support. Every month we do Zooms. We have a full staff. We have our own in-house advertising and marketing. We have our own business coach for our franchisees. So it's constant support, and it's really up to them to take advantage of that support that we provide.
I've talked to quite a few franchise owners the last few weeks, and that is the first time I have ever heard somebody actually say provide business coaching like that. Mm-hmm. That is really a very, very unique part of this too, because I know business coaches don't come cheap.
No, they don't.
Having my own in the past. Yeah. So I'm just gonna say, go ahead.
I was going to say the other commonality that we see amongst our franchisees is they've never owned a business. So it didn't take long for us to realize that, you know, they have the heart to do this work, you know, which is really what you need. But they needed a little more guidance and study in owning a business. So we now provide a business coach for all of our franchise locations to take advantage of.
I'm shocked. I'm just speechless on that. I think that is amazing, and I hope that they are all taking advantage of that. Coming from a business perspective, that's amazing. As we're sitting here talking about this, I'm thinking, what is the emotional toll that what have you seen? I mean, it must come from being in the industry for so long, Mike, but how is that emotionally, not just from an animal perspective, but from the people and the owner's perspective, owner of the franchise?
Well, you know, if I'm going to answer that, and then I'll give you a chance. You know, yes, I come from the funeral side, you know, and obviously we're there to do a job, right? So, you know, we have to keep that in mind, that we have to keep our composure and keep ourselves together so that we could be a true support to those that are grieving. But at the end of the day, the way I view it is that, you know, we are just truly honored and blessed to have people place their loved one in our care. We don't take that lightly. That's, you know, that's got to be a hard decision for a pet parent. And that is what we keep at the forefront, that, you know, we have been placed in a very sensitive situation with the care of someone is, you know, pet. And that is what guides us through. We're just honored to be in that position to support people, guide them through this process. And that's, you know, and that's how we train not only our staff, but that's how we train our franchisees too, that, you know, we're here. This is a really serious job. This is a true profession. And, you know, keep that at the forefront, because there are going to be those times where they're not going to be so easy.
Yeah, it can definitely be emotionally draining. I will tell you a funny little story. Mike and I were working together for about 3 weeks, and he pulled me aside and he said, "Honey, I don't think you can do this job." And I said, "What do you mean? I love this job." And he said, "Well, you cry all the time." And I said, "Well, yeah, this is really sad." And, you know, I cry with people, you know, I cry because I can feel their pain. And that's what makes me good at my job. You know, I didn't have to be trained to, you know, to stuff those emotions down. I'm okay with crying with people. And sometimes people need that. So it's been really great. And I will tell you, when our franchisees come here for training, they get to see that. They get to experience that. And, you know, I will tell you, women are generally more sensitive. So I feel like that, you know, they're not surprised. But some of the men, you know, when they see other men crying, you know, it's a little bit to deal with. But ultimately, if you have the heart for it, you know, that's what we're here for, to walk people through that grief. So it just is very rewarding.
I don't even know what to say. How do I top that? I mean, I really can't. I want to go cry with you now.
Right?
You know, it's, you know, we're people too. I think it's important for people to understand, you know, we're people. We're there to help them. And
we've
you know,
been through it.
we've been through it ourselves,
times.
you know, and we understand. So, you know, we're there right with them, and people really appreciate that.
Have you had anyone that's like, okay, I'm coming in, I'm going to do this, get there and go, I don't think I can do this?
Yes. Mm-hmm. Yeah, there was one person. Yeah. Actually, it was only one. So that's the nice thing. When they came into the facility and saw the emotional aspect, you know, that was one thing. But then to actually go into the crematory and have to take care of the deceased pets. It was all of it together was just a little bit too much. So yes, it's not for everybody.
Is that and I think it might not, but is that the only way that can you for a service, do they have to be cremated? I know we've done our own stuff and bury. My husband is all against ever leaving them behind. But
so good question. So, you know, most city ordinances or town ordinances frown upon burying pets in the backyard, and there's some very specific reasons for that. But you know, people still do it anyways, and you know, and that's okay. You know, there's burial in a pet cemetery; those are far few and in between. So really, the big form of disposition is cremation, but there is a new form that's really kind of coming to the forefront, and you know, we offer that other option here at our facility, and you know, looking to have our franchisees, you know, layer that services in down the road. It's called aquamation, and I'm not sure if you've ever heard of that.
Actually have. I have one of my alumni is looking to do that in Chicago, and I am wanting to hook her up right with you guys.
Oh, we'd be happy to talk with her.
Yes, we would.
Heard of that. I think that is she's been trying to do this in her community, and the city rules are fighting her on it. So
that's because there's no regulation, you know, like we said in the beginning, in our industry or in our profession. And, you know, at the end of the day, you know, you have to go before the town board for zoning, and they just don't know where to put us because there's a lack of regulation. So that always ends up being the biggest hurdle.
Yeah, and that's one of the advantages. You know, there's a lot of advantages to a franchise model. One of those advantages is, you know, the level of experience and expertise that we bring when it comes to zoning and planning and helping to get a franchisee approved in their community for these services.
I'm going to hold you right there. We got to take a quick commercial break, but we're going to start back up with that. So don't let me forget. We will be right back after this break. Welcome back to the Business of Pet Care. We are streaming on demand, live. Get that Roku or ISO, and you can stream us anytime, anywhere. Welcome back. I am joined again in this final segment. Okay, we were going in a different direction, but I'm switching it up because I want to introduce and bring in about this other what is it called, Mike?
It's called aquamation. The scientific name is actually alkaline hydrolysis.
Okay. You're going to have to walk us through this step because this is different from my understanding. This is a full water process.
Correct. It is. So let me start with the end result is the same as flame-based cremation, where you actually receive your pet's ashes back, or what we call ashes. The process to that with aquamation is very different than flame-based. In its name, we use water with an alkali, and ultimately what this process does is it mimics the natural decomposition process if you were to bury in the earth, it mimics that process, but just speeds it up by about 1,000 times, where you still end up with your pet's ashes, and they could be placed in that permanent vessel or urn or what have you. The thing about aquamation is that it uses 1/10 of the energy that flame-based cremation does. So it's a lot more environmentally friendly, much smaller carbon footprint. And, we live in a world where, we have some focus and some concern about the environment. So this is an alternative to flame-based cremation.
It's been a thing.
This has been a thing. It has actually been around for a number of years now. It is starting to gain a little bit more traction, a little bit more popularity. We actually offer it at our Pet Passages. Andrea, in our my location, we introduced it about 1.5 years ago. We did not advertise it in any way, shape, or form. We just kind of put it as an option on our website with a video that explains it in detail, and just let people make their own decisions. And we are actually seeing quite a number of people gravitate to this service option.
And is it, so when it was explained to me, it's chambers, individual chambers, so you could do large, small, and potentially my alumni was telling me about, she said, I could even do your goldfish.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, you can.
That is all true.
All true.
That the water can be reused as fertilizer?
Yes.
Well, you know a little bit more about this than what you let on there, Dara. Yes.
I was going to mention that.
You can. It's called effluent. It's what's left after this process. It's very nutrient rich. And yes, it can be used as a organic fertilizer. It is actually a fantastic fertilizer. So it could have a dual purpose to it. We have not experienced or offered to our local farmers the effluent. Just haven't gotten to that point yet. But yes, it can be used as a fertilizer.
I'm like, that's what she was talking about. I don't want to give her away her location, but she was like, this is amazing. This is like so amazing to be able to bring this to the community, that even if they wanted to bring the water home themselves, they could, and plant a tree. It's like, this is something that could be more user friendly for the sustainability of that animal's memory.
We agree. I think we've just kind of scratched the surface with this service option. So we'll see what direction it goes in, and how well the community of pet parents embrace it.
I'd be interested too. That's I'm definitely interested. I can't wait to do an email with you guys and hook you up with her, because I think there's some connection here. See, I try to connect everybody that I can connect in these shows too, and get people in the right place.
That's awesome. Thank you.
So going to the pet owners, I do want to talk a little bit about them, because I'm sure there are a lot of pet owners that are watching this show. And, some of us probably get a lot of maybe not such good for being so over the top with our animals like this. How does that portray? I mean, because I could think, I'm like, oh, all right, Ellie, no offense, you're my favorite, but we're going to find you a place and we're going to have a nice little ceremony for you. And I think my family would be like, oh my God, she's lost it.
We get that a lot.
There is some of that, but society's changed a lot. It's not where decades ago a dog was a dog and a cat was a cat and it died. Oh, you just get another one. people are realizing now society has changed where, you know, they're part of the family.
Well, what I see a lot is for some women, these are the only children they'll ever have. So when I say this is a family member, this is really a family member. So when it comes time to say goodbye, that loss is just as devastating for them as it would be to you to lose a human family member. And that is real.
It is. Yes. Do you have a size limit?
Well, the size limit really is going to depend on the size of the, you know, cremation equipment that you have. You know, we are really just focused in on domestic animals or domestic pets, and they could go up to the size of an alpaca, quite frankly.
Domestic pets really matters. It depends on your area, really, because we have goats, llamas, alpacas,
Potbelly pigs,
ponies.
ponies.
Ponies. I mean, you name it. I'm not sure there's anything we haven't seen. I probably shouldn't say that, but yeah, it could lizards. We see lizards daily. It's crazy what people consider part of their family.
Where do you think this industry still needs to have some education around it for both sides? People.
What side do you want to take?
So we are all about education.
Yes.
I mean, that's the standpoint that we always come from. I think the biggest piece would be educating the vet offices. You know, veterinarians are doctors. So we are cremation, we are end of life providers. So there's definitely a distinction between the two. Just like on the human side, you know, the doctor's the doctor, the funeral director's the funeral director. It's no different on this side. So we would like to educate the vet offices for sure. And we're actually developing a program that will be accredited course. Hopefully that'll be coming out in 2027. We're working on that now. So I think it's really important that the vet offices understand. I was shocked to hear that most veterinarians don't really understand the cremation process. So when they're trying to walk a family through that, they're not able to explain it, you know, the way we can explain it, because this is what we do. This is our profession. So I think there needs to be a line of delineation for sure.
Yeah, definitely. And, you know, for the pet parent side of things, I think it's important for them to know that they have a choice. They have an option on who their aftercare provider is. It's been, you know, while we love our veterinary partnerships, you know, for too long, there's been very little option available through a vet office. And, you know, it's important for people to know that they have a choice. And, you know, a locally owned, independently owned operator is more apt to provide a lot higher level of service than, you know, a corporate owned or a private equity owned pet crematory.
I don't think we could end on a better note. You have covered everything. I mean, from the education to everything. This has just been every show I say, oh my God, this show has been so good. Oh my God, this show has been so good. They just get better. That they just keep getting better. Thank you so much again. I am so glad that you found us and that you came on. Please tell everyone where they can find you and how to reach you.
Thank you so much. Petpassages.com. Very simple.
Well, you guys have been amazing. And, you know, for everyone watching, you should check this place out. Check it out. Look at it, because these are our hearts. These are our souls, and they are everything to us. And this is such an emotional decision. be prepared for it before you have to make those choices, because what makes all this stand out is that this is a conversation all about a company that is compassionate and is not allowing you to do this on your own. So, you guys, go ahead, start planning, ask the questions, reach out. You know where to find us, and you know where to find past passages. This has been the Business of Pet Care, and I am Dara Forleo, and I will see you next time.